Big up the Mengem. All right, so Smoke Zod not in here this week. I can't do the Nicky Smokes.
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, I feel like I had to do it. We start the show that way every week. But big one here right before Christmas break. Great run into games. So we're going to cover that today. We also have an interview. Say his name for me again.
Eli.
He did this.
Mengem.
He does this Copa 90 documentary 4-part series on YouTube about the Argentina World Cup run in 2022. I really enjoyed the interview. I thought the documentary was great. So we're going to have that in at the end of the episode. So please check that out. But we're just going to handle our regular business here. This is EPL. We're back in business. Maresh on one last week. None of your trolls are here this week, so it doesn't matter that you went from 13th all the way up to 13th after that big win against City. We're all in it together, right? No more troll shit this week.
Yeah, dude, definitely. You're not trolling at all, man. You're definitely not trolling at all.
No trolls.
Nice.
No trolls. No bits.
Do you want to introduce our...
And, Charlie, scoot up to the mic.
Yeah.
We got Charlie from Men in Blazers here, big Fulham fan. He's got the badge on his hat.
I realized that.
Yeah, so a little bit of new blood here. We're going to be talking some footy, as always.
Honored to be here.
All right. So, I'm pulling up the show notes. Who put that together? Maresh, you got it?
I just put it quickly together. I mean, the news this week was just, obviously there's been the backlash of the Rashford leaving him out of the squad against City. He was left out of the squad again this week against Tottenham for the midweek match against the Spurs, which United did just lose. Ended up being a crazy match. It was 3-0 after like 50 minutes. Tottenham looked to be cruising to another battering of Man United. That would have been 6 they hung on us, unanswered. Made some substitutions. Fraser Forster is an awful goalkeeper. Just absolutely shambolic. They kept playing the ball back to him, and he might be the only goalkeeper left in the Premier League that cannot play the ball.
Can't do it.
Yeah, he was going Matt Turner mode.
Yes.
R.I.P.
It was funny to watch. So the first goal United got, Bruno just picked one off him when he had the ball, passed it to Xerxes, puts it in the net. Then United sub on Ahmad. Ahmad presses him, does a little slide tackle in as he's trying to pass the ball out, puts it in the back of the net, 3-2. Then Mazraoui had a chance to make it 3-3, misses it by an inch, and then Son score. It's called an elastico, right?
Sure. This isn't the
Olympico.
story. The story is Rashford. The story is your boy.
No, hold on. Back
What?
up. Son scored from a corner.
Yeah, he scored from a corner.
Olympico.
Yes.
I call it the Pulisic. That's what I call it.
Also, low-key should have been disallowed.
It low-key should have, but no VAR, and that's not the only time the North London teams have gotten away with one this week.
Yeah,
Jesus was offsides as well.
I didn't care that much.
But you know what? This is why we're an anti-VAR in here.
We are.
So we can't just, sit here and say we wish it was there.
I heard on another podcast this week talking about VAR. It was related to the Elanga goal, or assist rather, that got disallowed. If you can't tell immediately that it's offsides, then it's onside. So, review it, and if you have to look it and draw all these lines and this and that, then it's just make it onside.
I will say this. It's one that the linesman should have gotten. That's his job to get that.
Which one? The Jesus one?
The Jesus one.
Yeah,
well,
sure.
All credit. Arsenal fans have been on his ass for now 2 seasons, since last season, that he's been in poor form. He scores a hat-trick. Let's see if he can do it and help them in the
Are you filibustering so now we don't have to talk about Rashford? Is that the plan here?
I'm happy to talk
about
Rashford.
All right, so I thought Amarin handled the question midweek perfectly, where he was like, it's a new challenge. Like, what does that mean? Is that like a new club? And Amarin's like, no, it's a new challenge. He's got to train differently. That we're in the beginning of a new project. It's a new challenge for everybody. He was like very diplomatic, and he slithered his way out of the question without completely throwing Rashford under the bus. And then the lineup comes out. He's not in it again. So what is the new challenge? Has Rashford really had his last significant role with United? Is he gone in January? Is he gone in the summer?
I think if they can get the money in January, he's gone.
Who would even? What
is the money?
What's the money?
I think max 40 mil.
Max
is 40 mil.
Who's paying $40 million for Mark?
I think Atletico could come in for 40. I think that's where he could play. His dream has been to play in Spain.
Okay.
But I don't think the team that probably needs him most can afford. They can't spend any money. I think he would fit in well with Hansi Flick's system. Barcelona don't have the money.
Apparently, they might have to get rid of Olmo on a free.
Yes, that's what I'm hearing on that. So,
come on, baby.
But Rashford, all he has to do is go to training and train well. If he wants to fight for his position back in this team, if he wants to be a proper Red through and through to the end of his career, he's got to show it. And like I said last time, before we recorded, before the preview, he has not looked good this season. In that last match he played against, again, a Wi-Fi password.
Love that one.
He was tragic. And all these Manchester United fans just seem to have, like, obviously we have a heart tie to Rashford, right?
Yeah.
He's been in the academy forever. He's come through the ranks. And it's a Manchester United story. Being attached to academy graduates, it's like the blood and the DNA of United.
He's one of your own.
But you know what? This is what's also held us back for so long, being attached to these guys and trying to continue the same story of Fergie and what's been done in the past. It's not what works in this modern era of football. And as I think Ruben Amorim's the first manager to come in and say, we have to change everything about what you guys are doing here because it's not what's going to work in this modern era. And to move forward, yeah, unfortunately, we might have to move on from a guy like Rashford. He doesn't fit in the system naturally. He's not a center forward. He's probably more of a left winger, and there's no left winger.
In that setup,
it's a 3 center forward system, and I don't think he's going to fit.
I think there's also a vibes element, forgive me for jumping in, where it's like a lot of these modern managers, and maybe you guys have spoken about this already, so forgive me if I'm kind of beating a dead horse, but a guy like Amorim comes in, and this is probably universal across sports, like the coach will be like, I'm going to pick my bitch. Like you kind of have to pick like the one guy who's in the locker room who's like, sorry, like I'm
making an example.
You got to make a blood sacrifice.
Yeah, well put. I like that.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think that's just an element of it too.
No, and we saw with Ten Hag. Ten Hag's blood sacrifice was Cristiano. Again, I do not think he should have ever been brought back. Was not where the club needed to be. If we were competing for the Premier League, he's a guy who gets us over the hump. But where we needed a complete rebuild at that time, he wasn't the right guy to bring in. Yes, he banged in a bunch of goals for us, but that wasn't what we needed.
Yeah.
Enzo Maresca is doing the same thing with Ben Chilwell and Sterling. Yeah. It's like across the board. It's like the new in vogue move.
It's working for them pretty well.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
Oh, and the 1.2 billion.
That'll help as well.
$40.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Rashford, he knows what he's got to do. If he wants to be in this side, he can fight for it. We know he's capable of putting in a 30-goal-a-season player. But, a fresh place, a fresh mindset, fresh eyes, fresh fans to cheer for him, it might do him well. And I don't think he'll go to another Premier League.
How old is he now?
27.
Oh, he's that old? So, but if there were another Premier League team, where would he fit? I know you think Spain is more likely, but like where is it somewhere else in England that it's like, all right, that makes sense?
I mean, the Arsenal links are there already.
That would be insane.
That would be.
But I don't think he's Welbeck. Welbeck it's not the same story.
Yeah.
I think Rashford truly does not want to play for another club other than Manchester United. If he does, I'm completely wrong. Hand up. But I don't think he'll stay in the Premier League. I think he knows he needs to go play somewhere else and go be on a side that can compete for leagues and stuff and see if he's that player that can help that team propel them to where they are, because he was promised when they signed him to that extension that we're going to sign other big name players, we're going to be competing for leagues, and the rumor is that he thought after the FA Cup final he was done.
Really?
That's why he was crying after that. Because he thought he had finally won a big domestic trophy for United, and that was his last game. And so that's why the tears were flowing that day, which all makes sense. But, I do unfortunately think it's his time. And
is it like if it's January, is it a loan with an obligation? Like how desperate are they to get this over the line?
Yeah, I could see that. Ratcliffe is ruthless. I think he's proved that already, right, with the sacking of Ashworth. So we'll see what he does here. I think Ratcliffe wants him gone. I think that's what it is. So I think he's not patient enough to wait for him to come back into form. So if he can get anything in January, if someone to pick up his wages, which are hefty, by the way, top 5 in the Premier League, I believe, if they can get his wages off the book, I think they'll do it.
Do you know how long he's on for? How much he has left?
Signed a pretty big extension, I believe. Yeah. So he's got to be gone.
I think he's going to be lame duck for a while because of that. And then he'll end up going to like fucking Marseille or some shit, or like Napoli.
Yeah, I could see that being a
RDZ. He's got Greenwood. He's got a couple other Premier League guys there. I could see but I think he's probably chit chatting with Scott. He sees what Scott's doing in Italy. I think he sees that he can go and be an impact somewhere else. I just don't think where we are in the system that we're implementing, he's going to flourish here.
I got a dumb American brain question. If he goes to some other league, how does that impact him with England, or is he done forever with
No, I think that's where he can rebuild his statement.
Has to be his goal, 2026.
Yeah.
He needs another cap for England, and he needs to be in that World Cup squad. So he needs to do anything he can do.
So just light it up in the fifth best league, France.
It's worked for other guys.
Yeah.
Get his career back on track.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's not young, but he's certainly not close to the end.
He is in the prime years of his football playing career,
Yep.
and he needs to do something to get it back on track.
All right. Do we want to talk about Arsenal with Jesus? And
I mean, he's not here, but I absolutely love that Za got to see Jesus, his favorite player on Arsenal, score a hat trick, and he also got to see Eddie Nketiah's first goal contribution in the 2024-2025 campaign.
Good for him.
And you know what? He celebrated against the Arsenal.
Yeah.
You know what? You love to see that happen because
I love spite. I always thought that when guys don't do that, it's like, well, dude, they shipped you out.
It's the weirdest thing.
It's so weird that they don't do that. So
yeah. I mean, I get
certain situations, but like the Eddie thing, like, bro, they
need a 9.
Yeah.
He could be the 9.
Correct.
He was not given a fair shot at being that 9.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
I get why he's hurt, and I'm sure that felt amazing. But yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of 9s, this story about Jamie Vardy.
Oh, it's awesome.
Just the absolute best. Like this is we like to troll on this show. We like the bits on this show. There's no better bit in football than this, where he will learn insults in the center back's native language. So if you were to play against Milenkovic and Forrest, which they did a few weeks ago, he's learning Serbian insults.
I bet Serbian insults go crazy.
That would probably be the scariest one.
Yeah.
Because if you miss it a little bit, like you might end up dead.
Right.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't fuck with the Balkans. Yeah. Well, like Italians and French, like I wouldn't care as much. You go down to the Balkans and you make insults in their native tongue. That to me is like, oh, well, we're at war now.
Yeah, those are probably like, I'll kill you with a hammer.
yeah.
And then like an
or
Italian
I got
insults, it's like or French, it's like I do not
right.
for you.
The Balkans, it's like I got 20 guys waiting outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're fucked.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Vardy because it's so good to have him back in the Prem because he's just such an old school. Like even, this is before my time in the Premier League and being a big fan of it, but like I've seen the clips and I've watched some documentaries, like the whole like old Barclays men. Like what is it saying, Marash? Is that it?
Barclays men.
Barclays man. Like he's got that like old vintage fucking, I'm like a dock worker who just happened to find a soccer ball.
Like he literally is that.
Well, he was working
non-league. I mean,
he was working as like a union fucking dude,
right?
And just like kind of just figured it out like at 25. So yeah, he's such a good throwback, and that is way up his alley.
Oh,
sick.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
wish there were more like him.
I know, it's a dying breed.
I do think the Premier League could set up the rules in a way that made it more common, where it's like we want like all the ticky-tack where the guys if I owned a team, I would like sit all the guys down, like if you have to go down to get a call, fine, you better pop right back up unless you're like dead. Like I hate the writhing, the theatrics, all that kind of stuff. Go down, get your call, get back on your feet.
Yeah, I mean,
and then I think you'd have more bad boys like Vardy out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a dying era. It was like the 90s and 2000s. You had the Roy Keanes, you had other guys in the league who were just absolute bullies.
Pricks.
They had technical ability, but they were bullies. You feared to play them because you didn't know if he was going to put his cleat in your knee and break your leg.
Shout out to Holland.
But I mean, on the other side, you see center backs bullying Erling Haaland.
Yeah,
because that's the only thing they can do to stop him. So I don't know.
He's a freak,
dude. Yeah, I mean, going in reverse, but yeah, watching. One fun thing to do, actually, it's probably the only fun thing to do to watching City right now. Is if you just watch Haaland, you don't watch the ball, you just watch Haaland and how he gets marked, especially against United. It's fucking insane, and I credit to anyone playing. Like you got to do that. But like if you look at corners and everything, like Højlund was marking Haaland on the corners,
wasn't looking at the ball,
literally just bear hugging. And then the funny thing is, like it's not funny for me because I'm a City fan, but like Haaland then gets a chance to like rub someone off, and he's so big and strong that he just flings people, and then he gets a foul.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's a no-win situation for him.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's like the old Hackashack rules, where guys used to just beat the shit out of Shaquille O'Neal in the paint, and then he would just like give him a little elbow like that. They go flying because he's 7'2" and 330 pounds. It's like, oh, tack on Shaq. So Haaland's getting that treatment. I don't mind it at all. Figure out a different way to score.
Yeah.
Chris Wood has.
Chris Wood has, exactly. Chris Wood just, I don't know.
No one marks Chris Wood for whatever reason.
I don't know.
He's elusive.
Yeah, he finds the dead areas.
No Australian has ever been elusive. They are like the loudest.
Kiwi.
He's a Kiwi.
Same stroke, different. It's like an italics of the same font. Like he's just like they're not elusive. I guess like you could say maybe Kiwi Hobbiton, literally.
Yeah, there you
designed
go.
to be thieves.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Bilbo.
Yeah,
but yeah, dude, it pisses me off. Whatever.
yeah. All right, with that, let's get into this week's games. So I don't think are we gonna try to do a show before Boxing Day or no?
We can try. I won't be here.
Okay, so that's going to be a no. So we're going to have next week off most likely, unless we'll try to figure something out.
We can
But
zoom it.
Yeah, you guys-
I'm willing to zoom it.
Yeah.
Okay, well then let's plan on a
Boxing
Zoom.
Day's big.
Boxing Day's huge.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, great. I'm glad we're all on board with that. That's the dedication we're looking for.
Yeah.
Kicking things off, we'll start with you, Rudy.
Yep.
It doesn't get any easier.
Nah.
Villa Park, Man City, Saturday morning. How are you feeling heading into that one?
I'm feeling like this. The only way that Man City can get a win right now is if they play Man City under 21s. That's the only way. It doesn't matter. I don't know which one's going to win, but the Man City team would win in that situation.
Okay, so the line right now is Villa plus 235, draw plus 265, City's plus 110.
Remember the days of MC 130?
Yeah, I do.
Little did I know how good I had it.
You can't lose.
Little did
It
I
was like a
know.
month ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, little did I know that we had not reached the bottom. I don't know. I mean, it's the same. It's sort of the same situation. You know what I mean? I'm glad. We at least had a little bit of a break. I haven't seen the injury report. I don't know who's going to be back. I don't think Ake will be back. I mean, there's just no way to predict this. Like,
Yeah.
if we still have to run those same three guys that are just beaten and low on confidence of Walker, Vardy, and Diaz not as much of a problem, but that is just clearly, like, tactics-wise, such a fucking issue. Rico Lewis will be back, which he's been fine, I guess. He's like made some. I mean, Pep. The reason I say that is because Pep is like, oh, he's been so good and so consistent. Pep's just trying to be positive. Like, I like Rico Lewis. He's a great player, but he's been exposed.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you were so fired about him before the year.
Oh, well, he was more amped on Oscar Bob.
I was big amped on
Yeah.
Oscar Bob, and then he snaps his leg at the hands of who? Kyle Walker.
It's so funny. It's not funny that anybody got injured, but it's kind of funny that it happened on your training ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the signs were there early. And on the Kyle Walker front, yes, he's been shambolic and a huge issue, but I still got love for Kyle Walker. He's a legend. He's had an illustrious career. It's just over. So got love for you, Kyle. I'm not going to jump on the hate train of photoshopping you as a terrorist. That's disgusting. Do not.
Well, he's
Dude.
You see what he's doing?
What?
He's getting all the Twitter accounts kicked off. So a lot of the city, like those like faceless accounts that have
yeah.
like tens of thousands of followers, getting kicked off one by one for anyone who's posted any of the Holland or the Kyle Walker memes.
My focus is on the field.
This is like a cultural difference, though, where as soon as it starts to turn bad for a legend in England, they're like, get this guy the fuck out of here.
Oh,
This
Oh,
guy,
well,
so like they can't throw people under the bus fast enough. Where me, I'm like, oh, Patrick King scored last night. I mean, the Blackhawks should sign him again.
100%.
And like we have more of a
Sick goal.
what? Yeah, it was, and he had the assist too. But that whole thing where it's like, I just want to wrap my arms around our legends forever. They're just like, go.
No, they
somewhere.
still have that old school England where it's like, bring him to the town square. It's like, behead him, my lord. Like, it's like your buddy that's
Yeah.
been your friend forever. And it's
Right.
like, he's a treasonous bastard.
He's a witch. Yeah,
They're too pragmatic. They'd watch Old Yeller and be like, "Yep,
Yeah.
good move. Like no emotion
had
whatsoever.
it coming."
Yeah, yeah.
So, but as far as the game, I it's hard to say. Like, we're just down and out. I don't think that we're going to suddenly snap into it until the January window. We'll see what happens there. I think we'll win a few games here and there. We'll stay in the conversation. But as far as predictions goes, with Aston Villa, it's tricky to do. And with Man City, it's not exactly going to – I don't expect like a rocking performance. But we will concede. So we just have to try to get the offense going. So who knows? We'll see.
So we like the over 2.5 for that one, probably.
I do not like the over.
No, okay.
No, if it's a low score, they've not had high scoring affairs.
Oh, I know.
Feyenoord, that was the one game where they put in a bunch, but
Yeah.
other than that, they've kind of been shut down.
Dude, Erling Haaland has 18. That seems too high.
I think it's 13.
13?
Yeah.
League goals.
League goals, but I think 18 overall. And then the next highest scorer is Vardy with 4. Not good.
No,
I mean, that stat where we
you
said
get
it.
your Savinho needs to get involved.
Yeah, the winger scoring has been not there. Just isn't.
I mean, Foden was like such a guy who was just the X factor of all X factors, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And he is just invisible.
Yeah, and he did look good. He had a few moments where he was really nice and unlocking in the United game. A couple moments where you showed him, but he just needs those clean looks, and then they just haven't fallen. So I'm willing to wait on Foden. You know, the classic saying is that form is temporary, class is permanent. He's not feeling it right now, but it's Phil Foden. You know what I mean? We're going to stick with him.
He'll come good.
He'll come around, and so that's just.
Will he?
What do you mean, will he?
I don't.
What do you mean? Will he? Because
he has less goals. I love that stat where he has less goals than Ahmad.
You mean than Anthony?
No, at Ahmad at the empty.
At the empty. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well Ahmad's snapping. He's popping off right now.
Yeah, but at the same time,
at
Foden,
your home stadium.
Listen,
Played one game there.
listen.
Yeah.
Foden will never get this treatment. But if he puts up a stinker of a season, he's looking like Rashford.
Yeah.
Same thing. Raised through the academy, local boy, has a flip-flop season type of career. He is the same player.
We'll see. I don't think that will happen.
We could have said that about Rashford years ago, but
Yeah.
you know what? We're here.
All right. So, because you're so down on City and you've been a little bit hotter gambling lately.
Weirdly, I can't get those two things to align.
Yeah. I think I'm still I'll take City plus money. I'm a sicko.
It's at Villa Park.
Yeah.
Well, they do have the best shitters in the league, according to Wes Brown.
Right. Great question by Rudy. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm curious of what you guys' thoughts are on it. Like, I've kind of, I don't think much has changed, so there's not much more I can say about City.
Yeah.
It's just if we win, it'll be a squeaky one.
Yeah.
It won't be obviously won't be the classic Man City skull fucking.
I would like to stay in a Champions League position, so I'm rooting for a draw in that one.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think, well, maybe not this weekend. This is one I'm staying away from. But if Villa had won last week, I would feel good about City this week going in there. But because they need kind of a bounce back too, it scares me.
Both
this is
teams are coming off heartbreaking.
Yes.
Right.
One at home, one away. Villa, did they play? They're not in the Carabao Cup anymore. Or did they play yesterday?
I don't think they did.
No, I don't believe so.
No, they didn't.
City are out, so they've had both teams finally got some well-deserved rest.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ollie Watkins hasn't had it at all this season.
No.
John Duran has, so let's see if they continue to ride him. But
he had the goal last week.
yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, the one shining light in this period of utter darkness and despair has been against Forest, and that was Jack Grealish in the midfield.
Put him back in there.
Put him back in the midfield.
You must have scored some goals that game.
My brother in Christ.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot we measured attacking players based on their goal involvements.
Jack Grealish was good in the midfield. That's all I care about. And that was the one game where we really were like, okay, we're better than you.
Yeah.
And it was against Forest, who was no joke.
Sound like me talking about Anthony and when he does things off the ball. No, I need to assess him based on his performance on the ball.
And his performance on the ball was great in the midfield. And he didn't play against you guys because he was dealing with an injury. And then we also had to put Matias Nunez at left back. So just Jack. That's one shining light I can hope for is the Jack Grealish in the midfield.
I'm
Go
very
draw.
Draw would be great. I'm very curious about what you guys do in January because you got to do something.
It's about to be. We're in the Gucci store. Have that. We're about to be in Prada. Have that.
Who are you target? Who would you sign to solve this?
Bruno Guimaraes would be incredible. Don't know if that's going to be possible. Kimmich is in play because of his contract. He would be so useful because he can play as a CDM as well as right back, and he's worked with Pep before, and I just like him. He's a great player. And then Zubimendi.
I was going to bring that one up. If you're Zubimendi, would you rather go to City, where you do have to backfill Rodri, and then when he is back, you will lose your job?
Mm-hmm.
Or would you rather go to Liverpool? You're a title contender, and that is your job to take.
It's a free world, man. Whatever you want. We're going to get someone expensive and good.
Money talks.
Yeah, money talks. And so, also, I don't know, like, I just saw this morning that this Olmo thing. The other thing we do need some sort of KDB supplement.
Yeah.
And so, Phil Foden is techie, and he's good in the pockets, but he doesn't spray the ball around like KDB.
Yeah.
Olmo can spray it a little bit better, I think, than Phil. But it's just, if he's going for free, we got to get Olmo. I don't know. I just saw that, so I have no idea.
He balled in the Euros.
Balled.
Like at a level I would think few people had to have expected.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
And I think the KDB situation is going to be further down the line next season in regards to either Musiala or Florian Wirtz. We're getting one or the other. So enjoy this now while you have the chance. We're getting one or the other.
We will revisit this conversation after the trials have concluded.
What's City to win the title?
I think they're more likely
Disgustingly,
to be relegated.
I bet it.
To win the title.
I bet City to win the title. I was waiting
All
to
right.
say something on the show.
They are plus 1,400.
Listeners, I want you guys to sound off in the comments. Chief made a bet for his team, Nottingham Forest, to win the league earlier this season. And now Rudy has made a bet for his team, a future for City to win the league. And we're at where they sit. Which one was more delusional?
Mine was I can cash mine out right now for $6.45.
What was the bet?
It was plus 15,000, so it was 100. It was
what was
100
it
to
gonna
win 15 grand.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I'm taking all the boys. We're all going over for the parade if they do it.
The cash out on that's only $6.
$6.45.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
we can either hold it and we'll all go to England, or I can cash it and I'll buy you a coffee.
Hold that.
Okay. All right.
Forest look good. I mean, City plus 1,400 to win the league is silly to me. I was hoping it'd be much higher.
Well, I think that's a reflection. And there's the notion of this is like big brain gambling, so forgive me, but it's like if you think City wins this game and you think they win another game, like if you really are not jumping off the City bandwagon here, the money might be take them all the way. I mean, at a certain point, you know what I mean? It's like, because otherwise you sustain a loss here, there, whatever. But if you believe that they're gonna win, because this is a tough game.
Yeah.
That's that's a big brain, call it whatever you want. Probably stupid brain is the.
That's all gambling is stupid brain.
Amen to that. But I'm just saying, for me, I can't shake the notion. It's just, it's like Michael Myers. It's your horror villain. It's your whatever. It's until you double tap shotgun to the head, they're coming back. I'm scarred. I don't know.
I mean, Zaw, who's on the show, says the same thing. He's like, this is bad, but they always come right. And Pep's just a neurotic freak.
Yeah.
So you do think they're going to come right, and I guess depending on how January goes, that plus 1,400 could look remarkably different.
And we still have 55% or so of the season left to play. So
now we're talking, guys.
Yeah. And if they just put Grealish in the midfield,
or you just put Grealish in the fucking midfield.
Yeah. Charlie, any quick thoughts on this one?
Yeah. Again, it's more macro, but it's essentially that if this is, and again, I'm probably relitigating stuff that y'all have discussed, so forgive me, but it's just does this not prove Rodri is the greatest player in the history of soccer? Again, I'm being facetious, clearly. I'd clip that if you want. But it is, I have never seen, and we all knew it was the case, right? I think he had some games where he was suspended or injured, little bits and bobs last year, and they looked detrimentally worse. But to have it really be that, light switch, he goes out, and here we are. Again, for me, obviously there's way more to it than that in reality, but if you were to kind of bring it down to a binary level of with him, without him, to see this, it is mind-boggling.
Wildly different.
I didn't even know either, and I watched every single game. I didn't know what we had till it was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no pick on this one where you lean?
No. You couldn't pay me to get.
Okay.
This is just such a stay away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right.
Or City to win the league.
Yeah. Or one of the two. One of the two.
Yeah, exactly.
Next game is West Ham at home against Brighton. This to me is in that category where I don't know. I would just throw a dart and hope for the best, but I don't have a read on this one. Maresh, how do you feel about?
Dude, I don't even know what to think about. I mean, they got trounced by Palace. Palace put 3 on them last week. I don't know, but I do know that I think West Ham are shit. I think they're frauds. They're imposters. They splashed cash in this window, and it's just not clicking. I mean, Fulkrug hasn't even played.
I know.
A minute for them, has he?
He's played sparingly, but they have in their last. They're at 14th. They had a draw and a win their last 2, so you can maybe make an argument that they're sort of better than they were a month ago. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't believe in them, but I don't believe in Brighton either. Brighton's form lately has been shit.
Yeah,
so
they've been all over.
Brighton has 1 win in their last 5.
This is another one where I would say draw.
Yeah,
I feel comfortable with it. It's at the London Stadium,
which sucks.
worst stadium in the league.
Yep.
They have bubbles.
They have bubbles.
I do kind of like the bubbles.
I like the bubbles.
I like the bubbles until you're playing against the bubbles, and then
Okay.
you're seeing them, and then they meme your coach because there's a bubble bursting on his bald head, and then it scars you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always have a hard time believing in a team when their first row of the first row of their fans are like 50 yards from the pitch.
It's like when the Islanders played at the Barclays.
Yeah.
Arena.
Yeah, it's just
The
fucked up.
car in the corner
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. But I agree. I can't get a read on either of these teams. I do agree with you, Marash, that I do know that West Ham are shit. But then again, Brighton I really liked Brighton.
There's some diamonds in there. Like
Right.
Kudus
Yeah.
is unbelievable. Is he
Yep.
still suspended? Is he back?
No, I think he's back now.
I'm not going to bet this one, but I always defect to the give a fuck meter, and I just think Brighton give a fuck a little bit more.
Yep.
It's a great take.
So
Yeah, and
Brighton
they're-
have more to lose because if they keep
Certainly.
in a bad form, they can toss that early season beginning where they were able to draw Arsenal,
Mhm.
beat United, which was not, as we've learned, a big thing. And they're in the top 6. So if they throw that out the window, that's all on them.
Yeah, and they're right now they're 4 points. I think they got 24 points for us of 28. They're in 9th. So they're right there if they have a good run of form. But I don't know how you can trust that team at this point. So
I agree.
that's another stay away from. Next game, Ipswich at home against Newcastle. This is the first one where I feel confident, even though Newcastle is this up and down. You never really know what you're going to get week to week. I do think they have way too much talent compared to Ipswich, so I think that they'll do a number here and get the job done. Rudy, you have thoughts on this one?
I agree. Similar with the Newcastle. I mean, so many of these teams, you just do not know what you're going to get.
That's the beauty of the league.
You just really, more so than any other year I've been watching this
Yeah.
league. It's just you cannot figure out this mid-table. It's like a tale of Jekyll and Hyde, two-face everything. Having said that, I do agree with you, Chief. Newcastle just have too many ballers compared to Ipswich. I like Ipswich a lot. I think they have a nice,
Mm-hmm.
they got some moxie.
They do. They're kind of like Indiana in football this year to me, where it's like
And-
they're fun, they're cute. Like I want them to escape relegation.
And they do very well in the give a fuck meter.
Yep.
Having said that, I don't think the give a fuck meter outweighs the Isaks of the world, the Brunos of the
Gordon.
world, the Gordons of the world. So
Yeah. Charlie, what about you?
No bet.
No bet, no bet, Charlie. No bet, no thoughts.
Thoughts is I'm not sure I'm with you guys. I mean, so I don't want to push back the point. It's like I'm not out here going to say I'm taking Ipswich.
Yeah.
I just think that they have not. And I'm sure the facts would disprove this. I just feel like whenever I watch them, they have not gotten blown out.
No, they're competitive.
For a team in their position in the table, they just feel like they've been heartbreak FC. Like I feel like they are, every time you turn your head, they're blowing a 88, 89th minute lead. Portman Road is like a sneaky fortress.
Yeah.
It is a team that, in Newcastle, who, for all the talent in the world, for all the financial riches they have, I'm surprised they haven't put it together the way we would expect them to. Is there a reason for that? I don't know. I just think
Well, that's the case study because they had when they brought in Eddie Howe, they had that run up the table, and because they were in a relegation spot before Howe, or right sniffing around it, and then they had a great second half of the year, and then the following year they qualified for Champions League, and last year was like, they're gassed.
fixture congestion.
Right.
Yep.
And then so it was like natural to assume that they would slide down the table a bit. They did. They're sliding worse so far this year. So I don't know what to like we said. We say this about Newcastle every week. I don't know what to make of them, but I do think that they get it done this week. Maresh, do you have
Yeah, I think that Newcastle look a little bit better than they did a few weeks ago. Anthony Gordon had a great game this week in the Carabao Cup. I think, what did he do? Let me just check real quick.
They beat Brentford.
yeah, 3-1.
Yeah, they beat Brentford 3-1. Tonali found the back of the net, was on a hat trick almost. So that was going to be great. I think they're finding a bit of form.
Yeah.
Isak is starting to bang ones in the back of the net. I do think that's going to be a little too much for Ipswich to handle. But on the other side, Kieran McKenna is capable manager of setting up tactically to play against every team that they've played against.
Emeram's successor.
I don't think Emeram's going to be succeeded for a while. So
they're up to 13th, Charlie. Didn't you hear?
But
My mistake.
the shape is starting to form, boys.
All right, so
But I'm going to lean Newcastle.
yeah, I think sounds like we're all leaning Newcastle. Next up, I think we got to go to my boys. They're at Brentford. Forest at Brentford. This is where I try to temper my own expectations, but I can't get around. So everyone's like, oh, Brentford at home, Brentford at home. So then I started looking into who they've actually beaten at home. So they've beaten Crystal Palace first week of the year. Obviously, Crystal Palace has been a disaster. They beat Southampton, another relegation side. They had a draw against West Ham at home. They beat Wolves, who are also in the relegation zone at home. They beat Ipswich, who's also in the relegation zone at home. And these are like 5-3 against Wolves, 4-3 against Ipswich. They did beat Bournemouth. That's like their one quality win at home. Then they pumped Leicester pretty good, and then I guess Newcastle too. But like if they have 7 wins at home, 5 of them are against teams that are in that relegation zone. So it's like, are they great at home, or are they just beaten up on poor teams?
I mean, hey, United,
they're
United
horrible
beat them,
on the
and
road.
United are in the most feeble state. United did beat this Brentford team,
Yeah.
albeit it was at Old Trafford, but that hasn't meant much to our squad. So
Yeah. So, and Brentford is 7-1-0 at home. They are 0-7-1, or I'm sorry, 0-1-7 away. So they're like perfectly 500 split home and away. But I guess when I look at who they've beaten at home, I'm like, that gives me some doubt. Forest is going to be, other than Bournemouth, the best team they've had to play. Forest, I think they're riding high. They're not going to go undefeated at home the whole year. I think Forest can go in there and get 3.
3?
I think they can go in there and get 3.
3.
3 points.
Oh, I thought you meant 3 goals. I was like,
No.
hey.
Well, but I mean, they do concede at home. They gave up 3 to Ipswich and 3 to Wolves.
Yeah, for as much as I think they're almost, last week we discovered they were +2 on goal differential, having like the 3rd most goals in the Premier
Correct.
League. That's crazy still to me. I don't think you guys are like you're not going to go blow for blow. It's not going to be a high scoring affair.
I agree.
So it's going to be one you either edge out 2-1. Let's see if you can silence the bees at home. This is the first one I can't give a prediction on. I have no idea how it's going to go.
Rudy.
I think that I do agree with you, Chief, that Brentford's home record is maybe on fraud alert.
Yeah.
And I just, in regards to the line, Brentford's +130, Forest +200. I find it very odd how much stock they're putting in the home aspect, because Forest is a great team this year, and they're +200 against Brentford, who are have good coaching, they have good tactics, but they're not the same level as Forest. So I find that line very enticing, the +200. And then I just saw this, but looking at Brentford, they do not draw games.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, an efficient way to not get relegated.
True.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
So I really like both teams to score no draw.
Okay. The old Nicky Smokes bet.
The old Nicky Smokes, but I think there'll be goals because of that, and Brentford play a pretty risky style. I like Forest. I as soon as I saw it, I like Forest. I'm a believer in Forest, and I think that with that line, Forest to me is a good bet.
And because they do play, Forest does not play risky, but they are very comfortable defending and hitting you on the counter. This does feel like the kind of game that almost plays into what we do well. We being me, part of the team. So I think Forest +200. I can't ignore it.
12th man of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. From across an ocean. Charlie, you have a thought on Forest, Brentford?
Yeah, I'm gonna break your heart again. I'll take the Brentford angle here, and I will say that I think there is. What's it called in cycling when there's like? I think it's called
Pro.
No. Hear me out. I have a point to make here. I believe it's called the Peloton, not the workout machine, but I believe like in the Tour de France, like the big fucking group of bicyclers that are like all like they draft off each other.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
shit. I believe it's called the Peloton. We have a full-on Peloton forming in the Premier League table right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it's like 12th or something to like essentially we're Forest are like 12th to 4th. I'm ballparking it. Someone who's looking at it.
United is 13th with 22 points. Forest is 4th with 28.
Bingo. There you go. Right. So I believe in that to a certain extent. I think that's not a coincidence. And for that to continue, sorry to say, I think it's results and it's matches like this that feed that sort of parity, that great equality, that notion of everyone's going to kind of keep riding in the same direction. And I think to ensure that, I just think Brentford, they're like, Forest are having an amazing season, and I back Forest more than your average person. I'm not out here being a hater. I just think that they are not yet of the ilk where it's like, I think they're a little bit in that similar. They are the best of the teams who Brentford have played at home, but I think you could probably still group them in the kind of teams Brentford have played at home. I
agree.
More so than the elite, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, I believe Brentford's next 4 home fixtures are some combination of like, in order, Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Spurs.
I'll pull it up so we have it. It's
like
you're right.
It's
So
like murderer's row.
they have their next 4 home games will be Arsenal league games. We'll say Arsenal, City. You're right. Liverpool and Spurs.
Yeah.
So, and then Forest before that. So this is a 5-game home stretch where we'll find out if that home record is fraudulent or not based on opponent.
I like the plus 130. I like Brentford.
Okay. Go fuck yourself.
There are rivals too. So
yeah, I know.
Fulham's big rivals.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and preview alert. I'm gonna like definitely crap on Fulham this week too. So
okay.
we're gonna make a lot of fans.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
The last Saturday game, rematch of a game earlier this week. Arsenal going to Selhurst Park. Palace. Maresh, we'll start with you.
Why start with me? Because I'm the biggest Arsenal hater in here?
Yeah.
That's exactly why.
Listen, I think that Arsenal didn't look great. Obviously, it was their B team.
Yep.
It was their B team. I'll give them that. Palace are going to have a chip on their shoulder. I think they absolutely thought they could have won that game at the Emirates. They were in it for a long time. A couple bad bounces. Odegaard and Saka come on. They changed that game completely. But I don't know. At the same time, Saliba and Gabriel finally with some rest. Saliba got a little bit of rest. Odegaard, if Jesus is going to start and can bang the ball in the back of the net again, I think we have a problem with Arsenal.
I think he wasted all his goals this week, midweek.
I know Gabriel Jesus from his time at City. Love him. He ain't that.
You never know with players in this league. They could get that little bit of inspiration to go and do it.
He is not that guy, pal.
I'm trying to play both sides and keep my role here as the fair and objective one on this show.
Thank you.
We have multiple of those apparently.
Yeah, everyone.
I say I see things clearly. I'm not gonna go crazy about City, and then Zaw is fair and objective. Now you're fair and objective.
I've always been.
Are all 3 of us lying? I've always been. So is there 2 now?
I'll start being fair and objective going forward, so it'll be all 4.
If we're all fair and objective, then at least one of us might be telling the truth.
Here's the thing with Palace. I don't really understand how they can beat Arsenal, right? They're not good defensively. Eze has been shit all season, unfortunately. I would have loved to see him step up without Elise now. Adam Wharton has kind of been like a
that's a good point.
He's on the list apparently for City, and I'm like, who
is an England international?
Yeah,
I know
who he
is.
The last
World
Cup squad or the Euro squad, right?
Yep.
So
he's
an important player for them if they're going to go forward. I think this is where we'll find out what's going to happen with the rest of Palace's season. If they can go and find some inspiration from what happened, and Eddie can start to find form, I think they've got a team.
Yeah.
That can go and not get relegated. But if they go and they lose bad, which I think it could be, I think Gahey will be gone in January to Newcastle, and I think it will get continuously worse for them.
But then it's like, are you trying to just get relegated then? Because if you lose Adam Wharton to City and you lose Gahey to Newcastle,
who's their coach?
Glasner, Oliver Glasner.
Yeah.
So like, are they? And they had that great run of form. They had Elise at the end of last year.
Listen, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna say that I really wanted them to get screwed on the home and away. Arsenal. I think Arsenal.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm kind of I mean, going into Palace is not an easy task. and they've had a little bit of a spark lately. They had 5 games in a row where they didn't lose, and then they have the Arsenal game. Very clearly on paper, Arsenal are the pick here. They have so much more of a structure, and Palace are much shakier. I just think that there's a chance that in terms of the emotion of the game, playing them twice in a row, and then having it at home, and it's like, just you fuck these guys, dude. So there's a little bit of a chance on that. I might put a little bit on it just because it's plus 475. 8 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 times, Arsenal definitely win this game. But I do see a little glimmer of light where Palace just have this like, oh, fuck you guys, and they somehow squeak one out.
Listen, Arsenal needed to show up in that Carabao Cup match because, and I wish that, we had some opposition here for me, but Magic Mick needs that cup to equal Erik Ten Hag's legacy. He's in jeopardy of looking worse than Erik Ten Hag through 6 seasons, seasons of this recurring Netflix show. So
all-time cringe, by the way, of Arteta talking about the Community Shield.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh God, that is like I was saying to everyone during the week. Sometimes the jokes write themselves, right? And like him coming out and saying that when their fans have been the loudest of it's not a trophy, it's not a trophy. Then he comes out and claims it as one of his 3 trophies, and counting it twice is crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. I thought when I first saw it that he was making a joke. He's like, oh, well, I got the Community Shield. And I was like, oh, that's funny. I didn't know you had that. And then Maresh was like, no, he's dead serious. I was like, oh, yikes.
It's tough. Charlie, Arsenal going to Selhurst?
Forgive me if I'm segment jumping, so I don't know, but this is my pick of the week. My lock of the week, call it whatever you like. I just think that the Arsenal title intrigue is not dead yet. I think Liverpool will come back to earth. I think we're going to have a good, honest title race with a couple of players in it for the first time that like just feels right in a long time. And I think for that to happen, my boss, Roger Bennett, refers to the Premier League scriptwriters very often. I think they have not written the death of Arsenal just yet. And for that to happen, you cannot come off a draw to Fulham, a draw to Everton, and not take 3 points against Palace. At a certain point, the old water finds its level. I think, and like we've talked about, beating a team twice in a row is not easy. But for all the narrative reasons, I could try to pull stats and blah, blah. It just vibes play.
We love vibe play.
Pretty much only vibes.
Yeah. Then vibes angle, Arsenal, I feel very strongly about it.
And minus 170 is not like insane juice for that game.
No.
Based on where those teams are. So I'm going to go.
I'm also a moron. Like, I'm probably too scared to lay minus 170 because I'm soft as shit. So I'll probably just use that as like my foundational building block of like the 2 and 3 leg parlays. Yeah. But no, Arsenal's the play.
Okay. Next up, Sunday, Everton at home against Chelsea. Charlie, why don't we start with you on this one?
Sure. It's going to be interesting. Have Everton played a league game since the rained out Merseyside derby?
Yeah,
they did. They had a nil draw against Arsenal. Yeah.
Forgive my ignorance. It's showing massively right there. Look, I think that they are going to get smoked.
Okay.
Chelsea, but not in this. That the juice is probably worse on Chelsea, right?
Nope. It's minus 160.
I might have a new lock of the week.
Okay.
Look, it is
road dogs. You like the road dogs this week?
Yeah. Road
favorites. Road favorites.
DAWGS
Yeah,
dogs.
exactly.
Favorites.
Thank you.
As far as DraftKings is concerned, I think it's a similar situation where like Everton, come on, like at a certain point you are who you are. They're Everton.
They're Everton.
Vibes play.
Sorry, Raj.
Sorry, yeah. Apologies to Raj.
Yeah. I'm on Chelsea too. There's too much talent. I have a soft spot for Deichball for whatever reason, but this ain't the one.
Makes incredible memes.
Yes. Yeah.
Stone cold one after they do anything. It's just so fun for me.
Yeah. He's great for internet fodder for sure. But Chelsea's just fucking rolling right now.
I mean, yeah, dude, they don't even have to play the same squad in this conference league that I forget. Like I was too locked in on United today to even remember that Chelsea were playing a conference league match where they won 5-1
against the
Shamrock Rovers.
The Shamrock Shakes,
Team Ireland. Yeah,
and they're not even playing guys that are registered for their Premier League squad, like that Mark I can't say his name. I've tried to pronounce
18-year-old Spaniard.
Yeah. Like. They are going to win so big here, and they are very much a part of this title race.
I agree.
Although Enzo tries to deny it.
Yeah. Well, because he's in the Pep school where he just stays humble, and he stays very like, I don't know what you're talking about.
They are the trust the process. I mean, it is essentially they're buying these young talents, playing it like they're playing Football Manager, like we had all played. Oh, Wonder Kids, and we all laugh, they lose, but it's like...
Dude, and
when it
even
starts to come good.
even like Nicholas Jackson scoring at a decent clip now. Like it does feel like it. Like they got it going. So we're all on Chelsea, I assume.
Yeah, I think that Everton used their one, golden ticket item against Arsenal, and then you back that up with another Chelsea one. Some people may think, okay, well, they got something going. They did against Arsenal. No.
On the other side, I'm now remembering the way that this league is panned out. Arsenal drew to Fulham. It was at Cobham or at Craven Cottage. At Craven Cottage. And then they needed Liverpool to go to Anfield and get a result, and they did. That helped them, pick up points. Well, should have helped them pick up points. Now Arsenal have dropped points to Everton last week, and now they need Everton to do them a favor and get some off Chelsea. And the way that the league, the script writers have it done, is that it's helping. It's helping teams neutralize and giving them a chance. Call me crazy, it could happen. I very much don't think they're going to be at home. They don't want to get relegated and have to play in this new stadium in the championship. You don't know what could happen. I don't think they'll get 3, but one's not off the table.
One would be an incredible result.
Incredible.
Yeah. I don't think it's happening.
I don't, but it could.
It's out. Yeah.
It's not. It's like 2%.
Plus 320 for the draw for people who are wondering. Next game, Maresh United, Old Trafford. Bournemouth currently sitting 6th. Where's the confidence meter for this one? This is a great test.
It depends on how we play. If we play against ourselves like we did today with Lissandro not able to clear his lines and or not able to.
Breaking news, it depends on how you play.
Not willing to clear his lines. Not willing to clear his lines.
Yeah.
Like, we saw that we can have the firepower and we are pressing better. Garnacho came in and he played well today. Anthony did not play exceptional at all. Shocking. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's either going to be a draw or United win.
Okay. This is one where I like the idea of United coming back. I refuse to pass on. I'm going to bet this twice. I'm going to bet Bournemouth to win, which is plus 300. Bournemouth to draw, also plus 300.
They did 3-0 us last year, I think, or 3-1. But that was with Solanke.
Right, it's a different team, but they're still awesome. Like Evan Nilsson,
is leading scorer, have a penalty hat trick.
Yeah,
Justin Kluivert.
Yeah. But like they're getting results week in, week out. The Amarin project is still in its infancy. That is too much value.
Another team that's really good at home, though.
Yeah. They are.
Like we were able to beat Brentford at Old Trafford. Bournemouth, I think we can get another 3 points here. This is like 3 points that are very impactful because we do go into a period now. This has been the toughest period of our schedule, and we still have Liverpool the first week of January at Anfield, where they will probably pump us. So he needs to get points where he can, and this is an opportunity coming off a late comeback against Spurs where we could have sent that game to overtime if Bayindir was competent.
All right. So you're riding your boys, it sounds like.
Have I not ridden them every week?
I know.
Table fun. We're doing a lot of table talk today, so forgive me. But the United are in what, 12th?
13th.
And Bournemouth are in 6th.
Correct.
If United win this game, they'll go ahead of Bournemouth.
That's fucking wild.
That's why every week I say we're not out of this like contention. You go, second page of the table. No, it's the parity is there. We can do it. Well, now why don't you show everybody your gift that you got in the white elephant this week?
Yeah, that's true too. I love this gift.
Pause for suspense.
Pause. Shout out PFT commenter. It's a $50 wager for Manchester United to get relegated, pays out $10,000. So I'm holding this.
He could win $25,000.
United. What a dream season that would be, dude. If that happens, the boys are going to Nottingham, and then we're gonna go to like Ibiza or something after that.
I might stop at Manchester to cry a little bit.
Yeah. But it would be incredible. it's impossible. They're not bad enough to get relegated.
Listen, you will start seeing ref corruption like you have never seen. You know how much revenue the league would lose if we went down? The championship would be licking their chops. Paramount Plus would be going, oh my God. What have we just inherited?
You get the Manchester Derby and the championship between their points deduction.
Dude, I was going to say the trifecta.
That's what we said earlier this season.
Yeah.
That would be electric to watch at 6 a.m.
Yeah, it'd be great. Charlie, thoughts on Bournemouth and United?
I think for the same reason we just discussed, we went through the example of describing what the hell a Peloton is, so at this point I can't let the analogy die. By that logic, we're going with United.
Yeah, we like Charlie. We fucking love Charlie.
And I think from the gambling perspective, we get flex our muscles, maybe a little round robin situation here with Arsenal, Chelsea, United, all between -120 and -170. You connect on 2 out of 3. That leaves you a flyer. You take your profit anyway.
Yep.
You kind of get a little get out of jail free card if one of them don't do their job. I like at the very least 2 out of those 3 to come good.
I like that strategy. That might be the smartest gambling play we've had all year.
Ever in the history of this show.
Rudy.
I'm curious from Resh. Before you answer, you promised me you give an honest answer.
He's always honest.
Okay, good. Okay, so how do they do so far against counterattacking teams in Amarin ball?
Who have we played that's a counterattacking?
That's why I'm asking you.
Forest.
We were in that game.
You were.
Because Bournemouth are the king killers.
We're not a king.
I know, but
an admission.
But I drink the Bournemouth Kool-Aid. I love their coach,
Doc Ock.
Yep. The way they set up, I like. I hate that you have Amarim now because you get this new manager bounce and you do.
What bounce?
You look.
What do you mean? What bounce?
You look legitimately.
You look better.
It's not a bounce. That's him actually like implementing tactics.
Okay,
a bounce would have been wins where we should not have won.
My bad. I won't compliment you. So, with that said, I fucking love Bournemouth.
Oh well, of course you were setting that up. Setting that one up.
No, I was actually going to go United, but after that, I'm going to go Bournemouth.
Good. That's where I want you.
Mm-hmm.
Because what do you do normally?
Mush.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not recently though, dude. Like I've been okay.
You get 1 golden boot, and now we're not fucking mushes.
I'm seeing shit, dude. I'm seeing shit clearly. But to be totally honest, it's tricky for me. There's tons of positives to United. Tons of positives, but there's still, I think, a feeling out process, and Bournemouth are pretty well oiled.
I think he's found his squad. I remember when I was saying that
I agree with that.
He kept changing shit up, and he was like, "Ooh, let's try this, let's try." He's found his squad. It's Harry in the middle. It's Delict on the right. He gave him a rest today, and it's Lissandro on the left for now. I don't know how long Lissandro lasts in the system. Yeah. And then you've got Dallo, who has to play because we don't have anyone else who can play there, and Mizraoui on the right. And then you're going to do Menu and Ugarte in the middle with Bruno and maybe Ahmad at the 10s. So I think
Højlund.
Højlund.
I do agree with you. He has found it, but Dallo on Semenyo, I can't wait.
It depends on what Dallo you get. You've seen him be good. That's why they picked him over at Wan-Bissaka. He had an incredible season last year.
Yeah.
No, he is good, but I just don't think defending against Semenyo is going to be chill.
Let's see.
Yeah. Charlie, we'll start with you. Fulham, Southampton.
So I'm going to praise Fulham in a second because I feel like I've been given this platform by God, and I need to do that. However, pragmatically, this just feels so stinky to me as a Fulham fan. I hate it. I was praying they didn't sack Russell Martin. I kind of knew it was going to happen. This is like, honest to God, like a month ago, I'm looking at the fixture list. I'm like, they're going to fucking sack it right before they play Fulham. And our Southampton still shit. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. But soccer's a funny game. Yeah. They sacked their manager. Blah, 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 blah. Like,
that is a shit bounce for you.
Yeah. It's so, and look, we've been playing amazing. We just played our last 4 fixtures, and I should know this because I'm a fan, but it was.
I'll pull it up.
I believe it was Spurs, Arsenal, Liverpool, and some other.
I'll help you.
Brighton.
It's Spurs draw. They beat Brighton at home 3-1. They drew against Arsenal. They drew against Liverpool.
That's kick-ass form, by the way.
That
is European type club
big time
form. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a reflection of Marco Silva, who I maintain is by far the most underrated manager in the Premier League. I love that no one talks about him because every morning I wake up afraid he's going to get poached either to Saudi, which was rumored at one point, or to the continent, or to another Premier League club. I think he is a underrated boss, and I think his name is kind of dragged through the mud when he was at Watford and he was at Everton and didn't do great with those sides. But having said all that, I just fear, and this is one where I believe Fulham is minus 245. Game is at Craven Cottage.
They are.
If you can, this is one where I love even more than a double chance. And I'm not sure when DraftKings post these, but if you can get a Southampton +1, Southampton +1.5, sort of if you get them on the spread, and you get them that +1.5 or something, that even money, to me, it just because you're hedging against the inevitability that maybe Fulham do win, which I was gonna say gun to head. I expect us probably to just because last thing I'll say is before we had those 4 great results in a row, we lost 4-1 to Wolverhampton Wanderers, and you want to know how you go from a team who's European contention to not actually doing it. You lose 4-1 to Wolves,
and
that is the same. Chief, you and I, especially us kind of yo-yo type lifers.
Speak for yourself.
Oh.
Well, the yo-yo thing, I don't know if you can say Forest or yo-yo team when they were out of the Premier League for 23 years.
Touche.
And they haven't been back down.
And I use that phrase terribly. So first off, I worked for Fulham. I lived in London for a few months. That's my connection to the club, by the way. I'm from Chicago, but I lived in London, worked for Fulham, became a diehard fan. The season I worked there, they were promoted. Then they got relegated, then promoted, then relegated, then promoted. The first 5 years I supported this club, they were not in the same division. My heart will never recover. My life expectancy is high 50s at this point.
You came up with Forest.
Yes, eventually they did.
Yeah.
And so I'll stop kind of rambling here, but in essence, they are a team who will frustrate you. They get good results. I just do not feel good about this spot for them.
The Southampton double chance is +195.
I love it.
I don't. I think Fulham is really good. I think they're really good.
This is a Fulham respecting show.
Hell yeah.
We have been stroking off Fulham for the last 3 weeks.
Big love.
They're a very good team, and we've talked about the Peloton. You're not that far off from Forest. So where do you still have delusions of grandeur?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
Big time.
Okay.
Got
so
the passport. Get ready.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's. I think that they're a legitimate contender too, and I also, again, they are in this great run of form where they're getting results against the big clubs, but it does feel like no matchup is too big for them.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's what scares me.
And they have a lot of guys who've come from the big clubs, whether it's Reece Nelson or whoever.
Smith Rowe, Adama Traore, who if he could finish would not be playing for Fulham. He's the king of highlight cuts off before he shoots guy.
Yeah.
Unless he plays Man City when he was on Wolves.
Yeah, true.
It's crazy.
No, we'll see. I just it's an awesome year. It's nice to I'm sure you can relate, Chief. Not really worrying about relegation at all is
it's amazing.
Isn't it such a cool feeling? I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, before the year I was I would love a nice boring 14th place.
Me too.
Yeah. So now I'm on the opposite
Let's
end, which is great.
Let's get greedy, baby.
Yeah. Anything from you on this one?
I can see the argument for a trap game in terms of Southampton or dog shit, but they just fired their coach. And Fulham's been doing very well. It does line up to that slip up where they've been playing so well. They've gotten these huge results. They look like they believe. The system seems to be it's a well-oiled machine. And then all of a sudden you go against Southampton and you fumble. Having said that, I still am just drinking the Kool-Aid. I really like Fulham. I just think that Southampton are that bad, regardless of the new coach.
Yeah, Marash.
Yeah, I don't think they've got many they've got a couple dogs. Dibbling.
He's young though.
He's good.
Yeah.
But I don't think they have Cameron Archer as well.
Yeah.
They don't have dudes.
Yeah. They played during the week and they lost.
They're a
so
championship side.
Yeah, they didn't have that bounce back they also played Liverpool, so tough one. But they're not the Southampton of years past where they could go into a cup match and beat City.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. They're not that anymore. So I think that Fulham will win pretty comfortably here.
One more quick little sharp play is Fulham to score first. Probably terrible value on that, but in all 4 of those big fixtures we just walked through, the Fulham scored first in all 4 of them.
I like that too. All right, we'll do this one quickly. Leicester home against Wolves, both teams who have fired their manager already this year.
This is a battle of the ass.
Yeah, it's a big old ass battle. And this is, I still feel I believe in Wolves' talent. but they just can't put it together. So now they finally make the change. Rudy, we'll start with you on that one.
This is really tricky for me because I tried to will the Wolves out of the depths, and it failed spectacularly.
You got Gary O'Neill sacked with your mush.
I did, but I got Matthias Cunha, Golden Boot. So the Cunha factor is tricky. I don't think they're going to get a new manager bounce.
Have they appointed anyone?
I have no idea.
Probably interim.
Yeah, and then Leicester's got, they got Rude.
They're at home.
They got Jamie Vardy.
I think Leicester win this one.
I think so too. I mean, I think that it's just too depressing for Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Vitor Pereira is the new manager. I hired him today.
I think Rude was able to get 4 points in his first 2.
Yeah.
They had a rough draw last week. I don't know who they played, but they lost big, right?
Yeah.
I think they bounced back here.
And it was one of those things where Wolves were unlucky early in the year, and I didn't think they were as bad as they were, and I still think that was somewhat true. But then watching them last week, to me it was just like, oh, this team just can't win. Like they just don't have whatever that is. Like it's the classic tale of you got a guy in Cunha who is a legitimate talent stud, but then the rest of the team is just.
He's doing the Anthony Robinson right now too.
I would be too.
Well, yeah, he's liking messages from United fans saying, "Come to United."
As is right, dude. Like, he's playing great. It's literally Andre 3000 on semi-pro for the Flint Tropics. Team's fucking awful.
Coffee black. Coffee black.
You're nice, dude. You're gonna be all right. That's what they are. Like they're just not. Yeah. They're just. I was watching them. I was like, you guys got some good players, but whatever this is, like, you guys don't want to be here.
Some nice pieces that don't fit together.
They just don't fit together.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. So I like Leicester in this one.
I can't make a pick on this one. If we are really talking about dream stuff, I want Cunha. I want Cunha in January.
Ditto, brother.
Yeah. So we need a striker. We got money to splash around this time.
A striker is more of an attacker.
Perfect.
Attacking midfielder. Right?
Yeah, he plays up top a lot. He can
He's a cam, yeah.
Yeah, he can do, but he can play as a 9 or a false 9. He can play off the left. That's a guy where we need a little extra.
Him and Gibbs White would eat into each other's time.
I don't think so. I think that you could put.
We're actually going with there's only one ball over here.
Yeah. But I think I think he could play him off the left instead of. You could
play with 2 10s, but you'd have to change your system. But I think.
Yeah, I also think Morgan can play an 8. So
again, how would he feel about that? Look at the number on the back of his shirt.
The team. So we'll see.
Gibbs White's the team guy. I think.
Why would you say that?
He's got an England cap now. I think he's going to become a me guy.
He does love being the man, but he's whatever. Let me dream. I want an extra attacking player for the run in here, and that one feels sort of attainable for 40. 40.
I don't know.
But anyways, moving on. So, Charlie, anything on this? Nothing?
I used my time on Fulham. I
All right, fair enough. All right, last game, big game, two Big Six clubs. Spurs at home versus Liverpool. Charlie, we'll start with you on that one.
Yeah, it is the over.
Yeah.
And I cede my time.
Okay. Maresh?
I like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Spurs, Liverpool. Spurs backline's not great. Right now with Romero's hurt. I don't know what's going on with Van de Ven. He didn't play today. I don't know if that was a rotation thing or if he's still got lingering stuff from his hamstring. But I don't know. Fraser Forster's also really bad.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool could run away with this in a big way.
I agree. I don't think you can
And they're so yo-yo-y. You want to talk about yo-yo? They have a great game, which they didn't have necessarily a spectacular game today. They conceded 3 at home. Yeah.
This is
Van de Ven's hurt.
He's hurt.
Says knock return late December.
I like Big Ange, but this feels like an Arnie Slot, Mo Salah. We're gonna hit you a few times on the counter and absolutely ruin your day. So I like Liverpool easy. Rudy.
Yeah, I mean Tottenham to me it's like you're on a boat and you get the rudder fixed and then all of a sudden there's a leak over there and then you're sprinting that way and then the sail falls down. They're going the one thing gets fixed and then something else goes off. They can score goals. They have really talented players, but then there's just something else that just goes wrong, like Fraser Forster just passing the ball to the other team. So it's just a comedy of errors mixed in with this incredible, exciting play. And to me, it's just they're going to get exposed by Liverpool. It's sort of a no-brainer to me.
And Liverpool need points.
Right.
They're going to be without Robertson, but I think they've got guys that can cover.
I think some of their fans might say that's fine too.
Yeah,
He's been kind of.
He's one of those meme guys. Maybe we were talking about Kyle Walker earlier, but like he's one of those guys where the old yeller.
Yeah.
I just used to create that as a phrase for it. But like they're like he's done great by Liverpool for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and he's like not as good this year, and they're like, boop,
Yeah.
like we're done with you.
Yeah.
It's
And they're
just
going to sign
tough.
They're going to sign Jedi Robinson in January. I've come to terms with it. Very
In
sad.
January, you think?
Oh yeah, he's gone.
See, this is one of those things where like I'll never be able to wrap my head around the Premier League and the transfers because if it was in America,
Right.
you're not giving up that guy because you're
No
still
chance.
running for. You're in the running. So why would you do it in January? Just wait for the summer.
It is
You don't know.
maddening.
You don't know if he's going to get hurt. You don't know if he's going to run into a bad form, and you'll lose $20 million.
So
on
you just
his
strike
value.
while the iron's hot.
Kind of have to.
Yeah,
If you're a team that needs cash, especially in this new PSR system.
Yeah. No, I
you gotta
know.
get your
It
money
just
when you can get
You're
it.
both right.
It bothers
It's essentially
me,
what it, yes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
yes and yes.
All right, so we're into the pick of the week time. Obviously, shout out DraftKings. Watching your team is nice, but why not make that a win-win? Our partners at DraftKings are all about winning, all about that winning feeling. Right now, new customers who bet just $5 will get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just download the DraftKings app and sign up using promo code PitchPicks. The crown is yours. Follow all your favorite Barstool personalities' picks in the Barstool betting group on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers, again, use that promo code PitchPicks, and that promo is to bet $5 on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. One more time, the promo code is PitchPicks, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So we're going to make this simple. We're trying to come up with one bet for the group, for the show, for the week. I feel like Rudy and I are aligned. The other two boys are off wherever else, England, Florida. Do we want to just outrule him and do Forest plus 200?
I'm willing to open it to a discussion. I mean, I just liked Forest
What were the odds on Leicester to win?
On Leicester to
plus
win?
150.
That's juicy.
I don't.
But
hate
it's
that.
also Leicester.
But we all unanimously picked Leicester to beat Wolves.
Oh, I'm not really there yet. They could have a little new manager bump too.
I mean, we could just try to.
You want to parlay it?
We could just try to sink a win here and just go Liverpool minus.
Do we need one that bad?
We're 0-2.
Okay, then maybe we just do that.
Because that minus 130 is kind of.
All right, let's do that.
Okay, you heard it here. LP 130.
LB 130. LB 130. Yeah, LB 130.
We could bang the over too if we want to try to.
Oh yeah, I like that. I would do that.
All right.
Liverpool money line plus the over. What are the odds?
It's over 3.5 is minus 140.
So if you parlay them,
Could we go lower than that? 3.5's a lot.
you want to do 2.5?
I mean, I shouldn't. I'm not the guy.
You're gonna have to be the guy, otherwise
know,
we're betting Forest
I
plus
know.
200. So if we do that, where it's Liverpool money line and over 3.5, that comes out to plus 170. If we do it at 2.5, that's minus 105. Do we like that?
Even money.
Yeah, even money Liverpool.
What are the optics on that?
I think even money's good.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think even money.
All right, then that's the bet. Liverpool and over 2.5 for the game.
All right.
Good?
Lock it in.
I like
Lock
that.
it in. That's the official pitch picks DraftKings bet of the week. Like we said, use that promo code. The crown is yours. Golden boot.
Golden boot. I was between Jamie Vardy, just because I think Wolves are in a state of disarray, but I don't know what the new look is going to be, if there is going to be one. There's just an unknown factor there. What I do know is I like Fulham a lot, and I do know that Southampton are butt cheeks. Also new manager bump, so we're kind of in the same situation, but I like Fulham, and I like Alex Iwobi.
Okay.
Let's go.
Mark it down, Maresh.
Me. Oh, do you have one?
I have one, yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you just go? Because I'm still picking.
I don't know if he's starting. I don't know that I care if he's starting. I love my boys this week. I'm going with Anthony Elanga. I think he finally broke through last week. I think he's going to maintain that form, ride the confidence. I like Forrest this week. Anthony Elanga anytime.
All right. I am gonna go. So Rudy's gone.
Iwobi.
Iwobi. You've gone Elanga. I was thinking Elanga. I am going to pivot. I'm going to use my last Liverpool pick. I'm going to go Jota.
Okay. Charlie, you want to give out a winner, a goal scorer this week?
Jeez Louise. When was the last time Haaland scored in the Premier League? Is that not the spirit of the game?
That's fine.
If I didn't, well, so we can't reuse players.
Oh.
Yeah.
So if I had Haaland available, this is a very
it's just
moment.
at a certain.
You're also in a rare position where you can pick one, and since we don't know the next time you'll be here,
Yeah.
on, you would immediately be our number one.
Yeah.
in the table.
just on the graphic every week. This random guy.
Who the fuck is Charlie Kipp?
Yeah.
are
I've
ya?
been asking myself that for years. Right? I'm gonna take Erling Haaland. I know that's
All right.
cheap
No,
as
it's
shit,
fine.
but I promise you, I'm only doing it on the grounds that he's due.
He hasn't scored in forever. I think it's a
You-
fine pick.
yeah.
And you know what? Everyone else on the show has hit when they've used their free token on Haaland, except for
Me.
All right, so that's the golden boot. If we are going to give out individual picks, I am doing Forest plus 200.
okay.
Okay, so I really liked Forest plus 200, but I'll stay away from it out of respect for you.
Thank you.
And not to have redundancy, because the other one I liked, I like it. I like the number. I do have worries about it, but it also fills my spite, which is a big part of my life, and it's
Love spite.
Bournemouth plus 300.
Okay, I like that too.
Whoa.
Charlie,
Because
you
I tried to play big last week, and I predicted that City were going to lose to United. It still stung,
yeah,
and I want them to hurt,
good.
and I think
like
Bournemouth are the ones to do it.
That would be great.
Dickhead.
My play. I know it's on a single game, so apologies if
That's all right.
the spirit of the rule. It is that round robin. So
Okay.
it is going to be United money line, Arsenal money line, Chelsea money line. We just got to get 2 out of the 3, and we collect it like a plus 200 clip.
Wait, what was that? I kind of like that.
Yeah, round. So
United.
yeah,
United money line minus 120.
Uh-huh.
Arsenal money line minus 170 against Palace. Chelsea money line minus 160 against Everton. And we do a round robin. So I think it's like whatever bet you put in, you have to
A multiplier.
if you put in X, your actual wager is 3X.
right.
Oh.
So if you type in 10, you're risking
Betting
30
30, yeah.
ostensibly. But what it does is it basically it's essentially the same. If you want to do it manually, you're just doing all the permutation.
Yeah.
Words are
I
hard.
know what this is.
All the
It's like a horse bet.
like a horse bet.
Yeah.
It's like boxing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Quigs
Yep.
fucks with this.
It's a box. Yeah.
Yes, is a Quigs.
Yeah.
Quigs loves them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just think 2 of those. And by the way, let's hope all 3 win,
Right.
and that's a real winner.
Yep.
But even if 2 out of 3 win, you're still walking home with profit.
I like it.
I like
like
that
it.
a lot.
Maresh.
I don't have a name this week. Last week I ran with the Pride of London parlay,
Yeah.
Chelsea and Spurs to both win, and I hit. So a little bit getting hot.
Get hot.
3-pick parlay: Chelsea money line, Fulham money line, Newcastle money line.
Okay. And maybe we'll do a little round robin on that too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the show. We do have that interview coming up right now. Great interview. Great documentary.
You guys should check it out. It's dope.
Yeah.
I've been watching this guy for years. I heard you mention it when I first sat down. He's Australian.
Yep.
He's the best. But even just I'm sure you'll enjoy this interview. I guarantee it. His old shit too. He has been around the block, and I'm sure you guys got into it a little bit. But circa 2011, 12, this guy's I'm at the blah 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 derby in
Yeah.
Ecuador, just doing it.
Well, right. He would do River Plate against Boca
Yeah.
Juniors, and so he's kind of a dream job in a way.
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
travel around the world watching soccer with insane people. That sounds awesome. But yeah, so check that out. That's the show for this week. We will be back for Boxing Day as we just discussed. We'll be back on Monday as well. We'll do a
recap.
We'll do a recap on Monday, and then we'll get into the Boxing Day matchups. And that's it. Thanks for listening, and then I think we'll have a full crew next time too.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course, Charlie. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
All right, we're entering the interview portion of today's show. We have a guy that Rudy's been watching for years.
Mm-hmm.
The director, producer, Copa 90. It's a monster YouTube channel, over 1 million subs, and they just came out with this great documentary about the Argentina World Cup run in 2022. Eli Mengem, did I get that correctly?
Mengem, whatever you want, man. Doesn't matter.
Okay,
Mengem's great.
well, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you. I love the documentary. I was fully locked in to a documentary about the World Cup, despite not having a single frame of gameplay in the show. So, how did you decide to come up with this story and to tell it this way? What was the genesis of that idea? And how long did it take you to plan? And then how long did
So, well, essentially, I mean, it goes back to, I'm not sure if you've seen my other series. Obviously, this is titled Once in a Lifetime Argentina, but this is kind of like the feature film version of Once in a Lifetime, the series I made in 2022, which was born out of the idea that the same teams are winning the same trophies over and over. And whilst that's fun for them and their fans, the bigger issue for us is that essentially the rest of the fans, are not only other fans, how do I put this? Not only are just other fans of other clubs missing out, but just general the football population is missing out because we're not hearing any new stories. Like football's been monopolized essentially by the same teams winning the same trophies, and it's not even that the trophies aren't being shared, the stories aren't being shared. So there's so many other stories to learn about other clubs. So I went to Real Betis in the Spanish Copa del Rey final. I went to Trabzonspor in the Turkish league, and I went to Freiburg. All three of those clubs had the chance to win something for the first time, either in their lifetime for many years, and that blew up. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but we were in Real Betis. They won the cup, and I'm with Hector Bellerin, the legend player slash cultural icon who had gone back to the club to play for his dad's club. He didn't even support them, and he got to be there as they won it. We were in Trabzonspor where they won the league for the first time in I think it was 40 years, and they're one of the only clubs. There's only one of two clubs to win the league that from outside of Istanbul. And then the final one was Freiburg, which is the most environmental city in Germany, and that was never really a football city until the environmentalists realized that they could use the ultra culture to kind of like pursue their political activism. So in each documentary, we did what I always believe football does. We explain the world. In Betis, we explained how they're the people from the south of Spain. They've got flamenco runs through the club's culture and traditions. They're also known as the fun fans, like the kind of crazy, hilarious fans. And also we spoke about Andalusian immigration. Basically, fans from Real Betis went up around Spain and basically, because it was the poorest state they had to move to for work, they kept their Real Betis fandom. So you've got Real Betis fan. They're kind of like, you'll find a Real Betis fan in every city, every town, everywhere because of that. And in Trabzonspor, we spoke about, they're known as the stubborn city because they're the only city in Turkey that stand up to Istanbul, not just in a sporting or football sense, but politically, socially, and culturally. The point being, and then we talk about their love of guns and honey as well, which kind of explains their sweet and sour way of Trabzon. What I'm trying to say is with all of this is that I want new winners in football because it means you learn about new places. And for me, that's what sport really is about. It's just about learning about how other people live and do things, you know? And so we made that series. It won a very big documentary award. And then my bosses were like, all right, how do we make this bigger? I was like, Argentina's going to win the World Cup. And they were like, well, what's your reason? And I was like, well, first since Maradona died, the first ever in summer because it was the first ever World Cup in December. So the Southern Hemisphere got to have a Summer World Cup and the Northern Hemisphere got to have a Winter World Cup. And last year was Messi's last tournament. He said it was his last World Cup tournament. So I thought those three things just meant that there was some kind of divine thing where if they didn't do it then, they were never going to do it ever again. And so they backed me. We were meant to go for the whole tournament, but I ended up doing something in Australia for the group stages. And so we went from the quarterfinals.
So you want to tell these stories of clubs that haven't won anything in a long time and then are kind of knocking on the door. Does that mean you're going to be spending 2025 in Nottingham?
Yeah, man. Me and Chris Wood are going to be, bonding over our Australian Kiwi roots. Yeah. Listen, if they do it, Forest is again like people should know about Forest. Their rich history. They probably do here in the UK. Forest are known as a historic club, but around the world, Forest. We're talking about European champions. We're talking about there's so much that. Also, the city itself. I mean, So exactly, that's exactly it.
All right, we'll meet you there. I think we're going to go in April or May. So why don't you just join our trip?
First time.
I've been because my brother finished school in Nottingham. That's how I became a big Nottingham Forest fan. He worked for the club.
I was going to ask. Okay.
Yeah, so he worked for the club for a couple of years, so that's how I got in. So I've been. I went to the Wembley game and I went to a game last year, and now I think we're trying to organize a trip for our whole group, even though they don't really care about Forest that much or at all.
What? So you were supporting Forest before though in the Premier League?
Oh yeah. The first year they finished 17th. This was 2020, kind of the COVID year. And then, so then they had the miracle run with Cooper. So it's been awesome. It's been great. It's the best decision I've ever made in my life, probably.
You're a lucky charm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, me and Marinakis. So you go down and you're there through the quarterfinal. Obviously, that the famous game that I think of probably more than even the final itself was the game against the Netherlands. And did you have this in the taunting that went on in that game? Did you have a
Yeah.
sense that the people on the street felt that same animosity towards the Dutch that it seemed the players did? Did that translate?
So we landed the morning of that game. So I didn't. It was a combination of jet lag, the weather. You've seen the doc.
Yep.
On that day, we don't actually mention in the doc, but the camera broke from the heat as
Okay.
it hit 40 degrees, and the camera broke from the rain which followed. So we lost two cameras that day. There was so much more going on, from the jet lag to the weather conditions, to just this nerves. I felt it was tense, and as you'll see from my documentaries, I don't watch the game. I watch the people. It's why I love football.
Mm-hmm.
It's the anthropological side. So I knew something wasn't right, and people were acting weird. I had no idea how bad it was. So
Okay.
no, we didn't actually know. Like I look back on it, I don't remember any of that. Like we couldn't see. When you're watching on a screen with 40,000 people in a fan zone, you miss the details.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember being tense because people were getting angrier and angrier. But I didn't see them. One of the players kicked the ball into the Dutch subs bench. He just slammed it into them.
Mm-hmm.
So much was going on, but you just miss all that. And obviously, I've got this documentary on the line. I've just flown in. They were 2-0 up. I was just so scared about them not winning that I forgot about the rest of it, to be honest.
One question I had. Oh, first of all, I'm a Man City fan, so you have no interest in us.
Okay.
I don't think.
No. Well, yeah, you've won it now, but Man City, people need to know about Man City's history is unbelievable. Like, people don't understand. Man City have an unbelievable history in that. Like, would you say the Mets don't have a history because they don't win things? No, like the Mets have an unbelievable cultural history, and the Jets as well. Or I don't know too much about American sports, but like, there's so many other teams. Okay, Man City are winning now, but this is the point. It's like, there's so much we don't actually know about other clubs, traditional clubs, that people should learn about, from Main Road to the song about We're Not Really Here, to so much about what they mean to the city of Manchester. So I'm actually not one of these Man City haters. I don't love how they've spent to the way to the top, but I do love that Man United have to feel what it's like to be a smaller team for once.
I
If that makes
appreciate
sense.
that. We need that, because all I get is no history, no history. There is history. But the main question I had was, in regards to, I really enjoyed that there was such a historical aspect to it, because my two favorite things are football, and then I'm a bit of a history buff. And then in the beginning of the documentary, you really got into the history of Argentina and sort of why it is sort of the way it is, and that was super interesting. And then in regards to England and the Falklands and then Maradona, and my one question is, then you kind of have to sort of do a little bit of guessing here, but do you think that Maradona does the hand of God if it's not against England?
And does it carry the weight?
Well, I've never thought of it like that, but yeah, I would say he has, because if you look in his history at Naples, he was always a bit of a tricky player. Again, it comes back to that, and you would have seen that in the doc, Viveza Criollo, the term.
Mm-hmm.
Viveza Criollo, like winning kind of by any means. It's a loose translation, I guess you could say, being a bit deviant in how you succeed
Man City.
in the game. Well, that's off the pitch. That's their own thing. To be fair, I think Pep plays at least a lovely brand of football. Look, I think I've never thought of that. Would he not do it against England? I think he would. I think that man. Actually, maybe I've never thought of that. Like, was it to do with England that he decided to punch it in the net? No, I think he just wanted to score a goal. Like, the Argentinians will win however they have to.
Mm-hmm.
But look, who knows? That's a great question, though. Maybe not. Maybe he thinks maybe they play, I don't know, Belgium, and he goes, "Nah, actually, I'm just going to try and head it in." Who knows? That's a great question.
I agree with you, because I think based on his personality, he would have done it. But I think because it was England, he was like, "Oh, absolutely."
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. It wasn't even second guessing.
Right.
So I'll do anything to get past these guys. Yeah, that's a great question. So I think it's that England help. Let's say that.
Yeah. It was fascinating to me because he has the other goal in that game, which is an all-time, like everybody's seen it, where he dribbles through everybody and scores.
Yeah.
But it seems like the people that you talked to in the documentary value the one where he kind of cheated more than the beautiful goal. And did you get that sense that these people, like, they're just like, we swear on the show, like, fuck these guys, like, we're just gonna do whatever it takes? And is it permeated into other parts of your experience in Argentina, like that attitude?
Yeah. There's a great line someone said once, that they're the jocks of South America.
Okay.
Like jocks, like the American term. Like, they're kind of like known as the good-looking, wealthy. They were like, because they're like kind of European. and we put that in the doc, right? There's definitely a superiority complex where they think they're better than the rest of South America. At one point, they were much wealthier. They're very European. They do think themselves as a sophisticated country of South America, and with that comes an arrogance that I think you can get away with certain things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally does. Totally does.
Yeah. They're also lovely, beautiful, warm people as well, but they've definitely got a dark side.
Okay.
100%.
Well,
And I said before this documentary comes out, I mean, if you watch this, obviously you guys are Argentinians. I've had a few Argentinians message me and be like, "Hey, you weren't too kind on us." I was like, "That's not my job. Is not to be kind or mean. It's to kind of reflect what my experience is,
mhm.
and that's my experience. Is that they're a bit they got some I don't know yet some darker sides to them, but that's also I think that's fascinating.
And the part that was extremely dark was when the game got tied up in the final. A guy pulled a gun. So I would say that was like what is going on here? And then you come back and he's just like chilling, like he's made up with the guy. So what do you know?
We're giving away. We're gonna give away all the good stuff.
Oh, we're spoil. Okay. All right, no spoilers. Cut that out.
No, for your viewers. But I mean, I guess you're gonna want to see it anyway. Yes. So I see a man start a fight after it goes 2-2, walk away, and I could just sense he was bad news. Literally, I don't know how bad. And he walks back and he is pulling a gun out of his shorts. Well, when I see him, he's kind of like you can't see it's off camera when he's pulled it out and then he's put it into like his shorts, back into his shorts, and then you'll see in the film he's just checking it's still there right in front of me. Like, I mean, you can see on the doc. I just love my camera operator for catching it. And there's just everyone asked me about so many things of that day. A lot of it is a blur.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? A lot of it is just like what was going on. So it's hard to kind of remember everything, but I don't know why I wanted to go back so bad. I don't know why I felt safe going back. I mean, I put it in the doc, but I get really close to him. Like, he wanted to be on camera. I think he must have been under the influence of something because I just thought he must have seen we saw him on camera. But he didn't. So yeah, a crazy, crazy moment. And just such a perfect summary of it all, wasn't it? Like, pulling guns on each other, then celebrating with each other, all within the space of 30 minutes. Yeah.
Did you, when it was going into the penalty shootout, was there a thing in the back of your mind where you're worried about your own safety at that juncture if things went south?
Yes. So my own safety, yes. So it's actually funny. The third goal, when France get that penalty, and we're going back to the obelisk, we get in the car, but we say we're getting in the car. We do get in the car, but we don't actually drive in. We're sitting there when the penalty comes. And so the gunman was right outside. We had hopped back in the cab to go to the obelisk, but we hadn't actually left when we were sitting in the cab and they go penalty. And we were just like, floor it, get out of here. Because if they concede again, that guy's pulling his gun out probably. We don't know. Absolutely. So I'll tell you another time where we didn't feel safe was when I went to 2-2, we were already trying to get in contact with someone to get to our hotel and get our stuff out of the hotel because we'd been told they're gonna riot on a scale that you've never seen before. Because it's one thing to lose the World Cup final. It's another thing to lose the World Cup final when you were up 2-0, when it's your last World Cup with arguably your greatest ever player, and it's his last World Cup. It just was like, if we don't win this one, we're never winning again, and we're gonna take it out on the place. Basically, they were like, we could see them burning down your hotel because our hotel was right outside the obelisk. And they're like, you need to get back to the obelisk as soon as possible and get your stuff. And so, yeah, I can't explain to you how tense it got that quick. It was like the camera could only do such a job of like, no one wanted to be near a camera. Don't even look at us. You can feel it just straight away. I was like, yeah, had they lost, I really say this. I really mean this. I feel this. Had they lost, I think people would have taken their lives. I mean, people just needed that on a way that you can't fathom what that meant to that country. And a lot of French people being like, "Oh, I can't watch it. It's too dark of a day." It's like you literally won the last one, so you didn't even have to. There was no weight. There was no like despair. You had just won the last one. It was your winter. It wasn't even like every other World Cup was in the summer. I saw the Arc de Triomphe. It was empty. It was one of those things where it's like, I'm not having it. If there was ever a country that needed to win as much, it was Argentina, especially against France, who had just won one.
Yeah, and you could see that with the woman that you were hugging. It was like during the penalties where it's like, we need something. Like, we need joy. Like, Argentina's fallen on hard times. and that really came through. I thoroughly enjoyed the documentary. I guess my last question for you: the World Cup is here next
What
time.
I'd say about that.
Go ahead. Yep.
What I was going to say about that, just quickly, is like a lot of people are like, yeah, but did it really change anything? It's like it's not literally going to change the economics. It's not literally, but what it did, it kind of just gave every Argentinian. So we went back 6 months later to get pickup shots. And and I'm not sure if you've seen the celebration, and this is what's really important for me because a lot of people are like trying to be like smart about me, yeah, but it doesn't actually change anything. It doesn't change things in like a quite little sense. Like the next day they went and solved their problems, but it meant everyone was able to deal with their problems with lighter feet. It was like, at least we have this.
Yeah.
And if you see the celebrations when the Argentinian team came back for the next 3 international breaks, there was just the way they were lauded, the ceremonies. There was this one thing they did in the theater where all the fans who kind of went viral got to come on stage, and the players were in the theater, the amphitheater, and they just spoke to them and told them what it meant. When Messi went to dinner, like there were literally thousands of people outside the restaurant, and when he came out, the waiters and the stewards had to be security, and people, they could have broken through. People just wanted to touch him. It wasn't like a violent thing. It was kind of like, it didn't fix things, but it was like a nice just glow of like, we have this. Like if they hadn't won that, they genuinely, I don't know what would have happened with that, because everyone knows they wouldn't have. That was it. If they didn't win that one, to get that close to be 2-0 up with, what was it, 12 minutes to go?
Yep.
You think about how many, I kept thinking, how many things had to go right for them to get to that final. They had to win that penalty shootout against the Dutch. They had to they just survived against Australia. I'm not sure if you remember, but it was 2-1.
Yep.
And Australia had a chance in the last minute, 1-on-1. I'm not just saying that because I'm Aussie. And even as we speak about in the documentary, they lost to Saudi, and they had to, if Messi hadn't saved them in the second half against Mexico, they were 45 minutes away from elimination. So it was just this feeling of like, that's it. If it doesn't happen this time, it's not happening. And it just would have been the final straw for, I think, a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree, and that really shines through in the documentary. So, last question, we'll let you go. The next World Cup is here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the U.S. men's national team is our last great sports story to write, where America's never the underdog. We will be the underdog in that. Is that a story that you're thinking of focusing on, and does that have kind of the international cachet that we feel locally? Like that's our last great sporting dream to chase.
I want to be brutally honest with you. I might be biased, but like I used to be a massive fan of the US soccer team. That 2006-2010 team,
Mm-hmm.
Yonguchi Onyewu's,
Yep.
with Charlie Davies,
Mm-hmm.
Tim Howard. I'm not even talking about the stars like Landon and Dempsey. I'm talking like Bocanegra and stuff like that, like the old school guys. Clint Dempsey does a great on that podcast for CBS that he did recently. It's like, I think they're arguably more talented now, but there's some kind of, I feel like it's because the US are now regular at the World Cup. They're regularly going into the knockout stages. There's something about this new team that doesn't feel as like
we don't have the identity. Our identity is different.
Yeah. You feel like it feels like they're a bunch of academy kids who are great. Like, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with them. Like, they haven't. That's the hard thing. It's like almost like US soccer has got so professional and good, and what's the word? Competent, I guess you could say. They're not obviously outstanding. That it's like it's missing this glean of like the 2002 team that made the round of 16, like Brian McBride, and all that. It's like there's something that was so much more magical about them, even though I don't think they're as good as obviously your Pulisic's and your Weston McKennies. There's just something different that's changed, and so people have asked me, okay, what would you do for USA World Cup? I'm like, unless there's something changes where I can feel like there's like something deeper going on, I don't know if the US is the once in a lifetime. I'd want to tell. They are still underdogs, obviously, to win the thing, but there's just something missing. I think they just need some kind of play that, if I'm honest, I just don't think Pulisic is. He just, for me, doesn't have the hold that Landon Donovan did. It's almost that Landon was still at the MLS. He was kind of already bowled in. He was a bit of like a nerd. And then the other one, 2002, obviously that Brian McBride years. For me, it's not the US. I'm still trying to work it out. I actually think it's England. I think it's got to happen soon. I hope it doesn't. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know yet. To be honest, I've been working on this film for 2 years. I'm almost like I'm so drained with that. I'm like, I don't know who it is next that I'd like to cover. I hope the US do well. Obviously, there's so much going on over there that it would be nice to unite the country. I don't know if even in sport can do that now, but regardless, it's let's wait and see. I thought it was Canada at one stage, but I mean that is just chaos. What's going on with their federation and their soccer team? So,
So no,
yeah,
you don't care about America.
no, okay, I'm this. I did. I really did. I love that old US team. I had the jerseys.
Yeah.
I'm an old school US soccer fan.
Okay.
Something's missing, and I don't know what it's. I don't think most of Pochettino is the answer. Bring back what's his name from the Revs? Who got fired? Bruce Arena.
Yeah, Bruce
It's
Arena.
2002.
Yeah,
Just-
who I think
Yeah,
was
bring
like
back Landon, man.
Yeah.
Landon.
Well, Bruce Arena
Yeah,
wasn't
that
even a soccer coach. Like he played lacrosse in college, and then somehow
No way.
Yeah, he never really played soccer until he got into it later. So that was like kind of perfect in a way, kind of perfectly
that's a
encapsulated.
film.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's U.S. soccer right there. But all right, so thank you so much for joining us. I love the documentary.
Pleasure, man.
Can't recommend it
Thank
enough.
you.
Once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime, Argentina. Yeah.
Copa 90 on YouTube. Check it out. It was fantastic.
Phenomenal.
Thank you for taking the time. And what I'll say is, like, it's 4 episodes, half an hour each. The last one's a bit more. It's a longer form documentary. And I know we're all in this world now of the attention economy, and everyone wants something short and sweet. But stick with this because you guys saw it. Like, you get to the final episode, and there are things on that you'll see that I don't think any sports documentary has captured.
I
Yeah.
completely agree, and even though it was long form, it didn't feel like it. I was captivated the whole time. So
What a compliment. Thank you, guys.
yeah.
I appreciate that.
All right, well, thank you very much. It looks like it's nighttime wherever you are, so we'll let you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and happy holidays.